Because when you wake up in 5 or 10 or 15 years from now and you're sitting on property, you're going to reap the rewards then. But getting into the market sooner rather than later is the key to that. Well, I think at the moment it's obvious. The cash rate's at 0.1%, and that's allowing the banks to offer amazing deals. This is the kind of money, or the cheap money, that you just don't normally see in the market. Packages the banks are offering in terms of the interest rates, but also throwing cash at people, $2,000 or $5,000 to come over to a bank and refinance. Like, that is a huge flag for any buyer that this is a great time to be finding a deal and getting into the market to buy. When you look at the Melbourne population, it's consistently growing. Forget the fact that people aren't moving in and out of the country as much as they normally are. I think it's obvious that when we get beyond this period of time, people are going to be coming to Australia, to Melbourne, to Sydney, because of the way COVID was handled. They're going to know that as a country we handled it so well. We're always ranked in the number 1 or 2 or 3 city in the world when it comes to the most livable city. So population will grow. Students will come back in for education reasons. The universities will be screaming for that soon. So we're going to see a growth in the spike in population as soon as travel is more permitted. That again tells you that you need to get into the market. You know, historically speaking, the market in Melbourne continually grows over time, and very, very few periods of time does the market drop. And let's face it, as a buyer, how often are you going to be there at the right time when the market drops to be able to purchase? It doesn't happen often, and only a small percentage of people might be that lucky. Like, at the end of the day, you're better off looking at getting in the market nice and early, knowing that a population influx is coming, that prices will continue to rise over time as they do. Because when you wake up in 5 or 10 or 15 years from now and you're sitting on property, you're going to reap the rewards then. But getting into the market sooner rather than later is the key to that. Right now, the state government's offering stamp duty savings, which is unheard of. It's very rare that stamp duty savings come through for residential purchases. There's always been stamp duty savings if you're buying brand new and off the plan type properties. But now you're seeing 25% for residential purchases under $1 million, which is certainly going to help young people. It's going to inspire them to get out and be able to make that purchase. And very rare that the government's going to give up what is a massive cash cow for the state government. Victoria notoriously has the highest stamp duty rates of the country. So if there's any savings had to be had, then before July this year is the time to do it. And that's why I'd encourage buyers to be getting into the market, particularly the buyers under $1 million. And lastly, why buyers need to buy in 2021 is the fact that we're clear from lockdowns at the moment. And touch wood, that becomes the case for the near and foreseeable future. But while we have this break in time where we're back to normal and everyday life, this is the time to start looking at transacting. There's nothing to wait for. You know, I'd almost tell every buyer, what are you waiting for? You've got a clear run now where we're getting back on track. The banks are offering great rates, stamp duty savings. You know the market will continue to boom. This is the time to get back into the market while there's no lockdowns and no stress factors when it comes to being able to transact. If you're a potential seller in the market today, this year is the best year to be selling. Since we've come out of lockdown, we've seen massive growth in sales. We're seeing 5 to 6 bidders per auction property. We're seeing record prices again that are coming through. So as a vendor, you couldn't be clearer around a successful result than any other time in the marketplace that we've seen for some time. You know, when clearance rates in our area are upwards of 90%, when you're seeing this many bidders come to auction and prices going above reserves by $100,000 or $200,000, it's a great time to be able to look at that with confidence and say, now is the year to sell. And when we think about selling, where is your money going next? You've got more choice when you can sell for 5 or 10% more than normal. You can put money into your superannuation, you can invest in something that's going to give you capital growth over the long term, or you might be approaching that retirement age where you think, well, I'm going to reinvest some money into something that's going to give me a high rental return. But this is the time as a seller that you could be sitting there going, now is the time that the sale price is going to give us more choice, more options for a sea change, tree change, or inner suburban lifestyle. But particularly coming out of COVID, when the stresses of living at home might have been pushing on you or weighing on you, this is a great time to make that change, knowing that you're most likely going to have a successful result. And at the end of the day as well, we're not going to be foreseeably able to travel overseas with any great comfort. Interstate travel is there for us, and I think more people will take small interstate trips, but certainly people are going to be spending a lot less money when it comes to travel. And that's the great time now to look at your own home where you're going to spend more time and decide, do we refinance and reinvest in our own home, extend, renovate, etc.? Or do we need to make that necessary change to sell? And that's why selling this year is a great time, because hopefully we're saving money on travel and you can now reinvest that money into your deposit to get that new home. So I think while travel is off the cards for the next bit of time, particularly internationally, this is the time to sell and make that necessary change in your life. Lastly, why sell this year? Well, all the benefits that are coming through for the buyer's point of view that I've explained earlier is the reason as a seller you need to sell. Because buyers have got all these benefits, cash being thrown at them from the banks, stamp duty cuts as well. All the benefiting factors for buyers will relay to the vendor. And so as a vendor, you need to sit there and understand that your market conditions are as good as they could ever be. And maybe it's the emotional triggers that hold you back, but certainly the financial triggers can't hold you back this year. And that's why 2021 is the time to be selling.